Yeah, I'm very, very grateful for friendship just in general and the kind of sisterhood that it gives birth to and how life changing it is when done right. Because the truth is, just like any other relationship, it does require work. Again, not everyone will have that kind of access to you, and not everyone should, but we do need each other. We absolutely need each other. And this was definitely impacted by the fact that I had so many unresolved personal issues. That's why I was saying get right with yourself. I'm not saying be perfect. I'm not saying that there is no getting perfect, but there are some things that you need to work on that are going to end up affecting the quality of your friendship. I'm going to say it again. I know it's hard. I know it can be challenging. There is so much going on in an adult life. But you make time for the things you love, you make time for the people you love, and you just gotta make the time, you gotta find the time. Hi community, welcome back to Acupfulll. Thank you so much for joining me. So in this week's episode, we are continuing with the love series, a three-part series where I talk about love in the 20s when it comes to the self, friendship, and romance, both from the perspective of my own experience as well as research. So last week I got into self-love and just my own experiences with it. And this week, we are going to look into friendship and again, my experiences with it and what research also says about it. So, I really hope that you are going to find this educational, that it will give you some perspective, or there'll be some good information that you can apply in your own life. So if there's something that I think we all know, something that I've noticed, is that society tends to place an emphasis on romantic relationships. And as people as well, we end up thinking, I guess that's also how we're conditioned. I think that is definitely how we're conditioned. But we think that just finding that right person will make us happy and fulfilled. And although there is a certain amount of happiness and fulfillment that comes from being in a healthy relationship, no doubt about that, it is not and should not be the most important relationship that you have. The research has shown, and it shows that friends are actually even more important to our psychological welfare. Friends bring more happiness into our lives than virtually anything or anyone else. They also have a huge impact on one's mental health and happiness. So yeah, good friends, quality friends relieve stress, they provide comfort and joy, they prevent loneliness and isolation. It's really good stuff that comes from being in good relationships or good friendships. Yeah, and developing close friendships can also have a very powerful impact on your physical health. In contrast, though, a lack of social connection can pose as much of a risk as smoking or drinking too much or just leading a poor lifestyle. So yeah, friends are tied to longevity. I mean, the benefits, the benefits are what blew my mind, and just the value that comes from being in healthy friendships absolutely blew my mind when I was busy doing research. One Swedish study found that, along with physical activity, maintaining a rich network of friends can add significant years to your life. And there's also something else that I've learned about this phrase or this term, rich network of friends, is that it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So that richness is really what I perceive or interpret as just the quality of the friendships that you have. And yeah, it's just so interesting to me that having good connections with people that you choose and that choose you in that way can literally add to the years of your life. They can add to the quality of the years of your life. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it's wow. There is so much I have learned about friendship and the kind of love that grows in that kind of relationship, or those kinds of relationships. And this has come from the different kinds of relationships, or friendships rather, I have been in over the years, specifically in my 20s. And I'm so, so grateful for each and every one, because they have all contributed to shaping the kind of friend I've become, and even the woman I have become. And I say that with the utmost confidence and gratitude as well. So, yeah, I'm very, very grateful for friendship just in general, and the kind of sisterhood that it gives birth to, and how life changing it is when done right. Because the truth is, just like any other relationship, it does require work. And that's another thing that I've learned for sure from my friendships or from friendship in my 20s, that I need to show up, be intentional, and just overall be committed to playing my part in the stability and strength and longevity of my friendships, because it is a two-way street. It is absolutely 100% a two-way street. One person's effort all the time is just not enough. And I have unfortunately been the friend that did not understand or appreciate that at some point or another. But we'll get into that. I will share a little bit about what I mean about that. What else is true is that as I've gotten older, so much about how I perceive or understand friendship has changed significantly. The idea of what friendship is and what it should look like at 21 is not the idea I have now that I'm 28, heading towards turning 29, And again, we're going to get into that a bit later as well. But first, I want to talk about the importance of friendship and what science specifically says about it. In essence, what the health benefits of quality friendship is from research perspective. So, according to an article written under the American Psychological Association, people who have friends and close confidants are more satisfied with their lives and less likely to suffer from depression. They're also less likely to die from all kinds of diseases, or things such as heart problems and a range of chronic diseases. Julian Holt Lundstad, a professor of psychology and neuroscience at Brigham Young University, who studies how relationships affect the body and brain, added that when people are in low social connection because of isolation, loneliness, or poor quality relationships, they face an increased risk of premature death. That really blew my mind. Fortunately, research also suggests that friendships can be made and maintained at any age. Relationships with friends can strengthen or stand in for romantic relationships as well. And even minimal social interactions can be powerful. Minimal social interactions, just talking to the person who you are buying a dress from at a store, at a market, or having a conversation with the barista at your favorite coffee shop, or talking to, I don't know, a stranger in a queue in a shop when you're waiting to pay for your groceries. That can also be powerful. Shows just how much we need each other. And I know that pursuing the things of the world, getting the money, getting the bag, living good, having money, those are all nice, but we still need each other. Human beings still need each other. So don't forget that. Don't neglect that part of your life when you're trying to make life happen, or bring your life together, or just make sure that you live in comfort. Don't isolate yourself and in the process forget that you are a human being at the end of the day who will need other people all the time. We need each other all the time. We literally need each other for our well-being. So yeah, I also know that making friends as an adult can be really challenging and terrifying, especially if you have previously been hurt. Friendship breakups can also be, oh my goodness, yeah, they can be such a big contributing factor to closing yourself off. But you know what I say? Why not? You haven't met all the people that are meant to love you yet. And choosing to hold on to or give power to past hurts will take away from you more than it will add. It's just going to hold you back. So, as research has suggested, we can make friends at any time in our lives, and we should take advantage of that. I know it's hard, I know it can be very challenging, but you also just need to open yourself up to it. You know what I'm saying? Research also says that friendships protect us in part by changing the way we respond to stress. So, listen to this. Blood pressure reactivity is lower when people talk to a supportive friend rather than a friend whom they feel ambivalent about. And this is also why choosing friends wisely is important, because the kind of person you choose to get involved with will have a big impact on your well-being. So be cautious, because the quality of the person is most important. You know, their character, emotional intelligence, their values. And a little bit later on in the episode, towards the end, I'm going to talk about how to identify a good friend, or a potentially good friend, or someone who you can see yourself building a strong, sturdy friendship with, and maintaining that. Someone who is worth your time. So yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. Scientists studying friendship have even found similar brain activity among friends in regions responsible for a range of functions, including motivation, reward, identity, and sensory processing. This is, again, another interesting aspect of just the research around friendship and the kind of benefits that it has, and just what a good friendship can do for you mentally, physically, emotionally. But it doesn't end there. Researchers at University of Maine have even found support for this point of view, which emphasizes the importance of having mutual friendships that extend beyond that one best friendship. They state that having friends and acquaintances outside your best friend can help protect against feelings of loneliness and even depression. Furthermore, their findings support a continuous view of friendship with varying levels of intensity, where acquaintances, good friends, and best friends all serve a function in one sense of companionship, nurturance, belongingness, and sense of worthiness. And this has been very much apparent for me over the years. I no longer have one dimensional views of friendships, or a one dimensional view of friendship, that every single friend I have will play the same role, or that I need to be extremely close with all of my friends, or that the only people I will share intimate or significant moments with will be my friends only. A lot of life experiences I've had in my 20s have really proven and shown that to me. Like I said, having a very intimate conversation or a very intimate moment shouldn't just be, it doesn't have to be just limited to the people that you're very, very close with or your friends. You could share that with somebody that you are standing in the queue with at a shop when you're waiting to pay for your groceries, or you can have that conversation with a petrol attendant who you see every other morning when you go and put petrol in your car. Or you can have that conversation or have that kind of relationship interactions with your colleague, that one colleague, those two colleagues. And I'm going to go back to the point that I made earlier on, that we absolutely do need each other as human beings. We need those 2-minute interactions with each other. As you have heard me say, research literally supports the 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 benefits, or it supports those interactions and friendship at varying levels, or acquaintanceship, and the role that it plays and the functions that those kinds of interactions, those kinds of relationships serve. So we need each other. That's how we have been made. It is the makeup of a human being to need another human being, not just so that we feel better about ourselves, but just because it's the way it is. It is the way it is. And as the researchers also mentioned, people that don't have connections, whether they are very, very intimate, strong, deep connections, or whether it is just an acquaintanceship, or just that 2 minute conversation that you have every other day with that person that you see every other day, those people are more prone to premature death or diseases or developing diseases. So we need each other. We need each other. It's good for us. And we also need to be open to that, to the fact that we need each other and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes the relationship that you're going to have with a person is not going to be incredibly deep. That is fine. There are people that you will have a deep relationship with. Again, not everyone will have that kind of access to you, and not everyone should, but we do need each other. We absolutely need each other. What else has become apparent to me over the years is that you need to be in alignment with the person you choose to become friends with, and then maintain said friendship with. So just like how we preach that there needs to be alignment within a romantic relationship, there needs to be that within friendship for it to last and for there to be any substance to it. You also need to get right with yourself and be intentional about it. Otherwise, you just will not be able to show up for the people or person that you are in friendship with. And when I say show up, I mean with love and care and kindness, forgiveness, and the desire to choose that person, and then for that person to have the desire to choose you again and again and again. And although this is how I see friendship now and my understanding of it now, it wasn't always like this. Like I said earlier on, I would get into it a little bit. I haven't always seen friendship in this way. Earlier on, I mentioned that I have not always valued that friendship is a two-way street, and this was definitely impacted by the fact that I had so many unresolved personal issues. That's why I was saying get right with yourself. I'm not saying be perfect. I'm not saying that there is no getting perfect, but there are some things that you need to work on that are going to end up affecting the quality of your friendship. So I had many unresolved personal issues, and my friendships in the past have bore the brunt of that. I was a poor communicator who would bottle things up and avoid confrontation and avoid conflict. That is and will always be a recipe for disaster for any relationship. So yeah, I also would not explicitly express my needs or my struggles, because yeah, I just never knew how to ask for help and support, but I would always be willing to give it. And in the beginning, it seems like love. It seemed like love for me when I was doing it. But, and I believe that I meant well, but it wasn't translating into the same thing. And yeah, I just ended up getting burnt out, and I ended up getting very frustrated and angry. Yeah, so I was giving, pouring, even if that meant showing up even when I did not have the capacity to. And this was going back to people pleasing, which was, again, something that had come from my own personal issues, but it was now spilling over into the other relationships that I was having with people, that I was forming with people, and I was showing up from a perspective of people pleasing. And yeah, that is the thing. Just like in a romantic relationship, if there are internal hurts you choose to avoid or ignore, they will show themselves. Perhaps not like in a romantic relationship, or not as quickly as they would in a romantic relationship, but they will show, because again, a friendship is after all a relationship too. So what I'm saying is, be intentional when you are in friendship with others. Be intentional, because it is going to take a lot of that. Be intentional and just want to show up and want to be there. Just want to be there, and don't just say things, do them as well. I also want to throw in that doing the hard work doesn't mean that things won't be challenging. Because again, this is just like any other relationship. Remember that we grow and life changes, and life changes us, or our challenges change us, or our priorities change, and we have to divide our time between multiple things. For example, romantic relationship, career, marriage, kids, starting a business, buying a car, buying a house, life challenges, various other life challenges. I could go on, and the friendship dynamic will probably also be affected by that. The friendship dynamic will change. Perhaps you'll see each other less, or talk less, or both. And for some people, just keep growing together, and that's lovely, and they're able to communicate through all of those changes, and it's never a difficult thing, because the foundation of the relationship, they started from a point where communication was always open, and they were always just honest with each other, and they were always working through things. And sometimes even in a situation like that, the relationship will become strained either way, because you're changing now, you're growing, the things you used to like, used to want, who you used to be, just has fizzled out. That person doesn't really exist. And it might feel like you cannot relate to your friend anymore. So it could be that even though you had a good foundation, and you had the friendship had a great setup, um, it's possible that because life happened, then things kind of went sideways. And sometimes you might find that the strain comes from the fact that the foundation isn't the sturdiest. But that doesn't mean that the love that you have for them is gone. Maybe you still love them so much that you still want them in your life. And I've been there, and I wish I knew to do better at the time. The truth is, there is a way to find your way back to them, and back to the friendship, and to get back, or to get to a place. Maybe you won't get back to the place that you were at before, because obviously now you're two completely different people. You've changed so much, but you can get back to friendship, and loving each other in the place that you both find yourselves in at that point in time. In an article I found in the Times, the author begins by highlighting that over the past few years, adult friendships have been on the decline, and the people that have been suffering the most are men. In one survey, 15% of men said they had no close friends at all, and that's really sad. A five-fold increase since 1999. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but it's really sad to it probably is really sad and really difficult to kind of look up and go through life's hard moments and go through life's struggles without people to call on, without people that you know will have your back, without those close, intimate relationships that you know you can lie back on for comfort and support. And I guess this is what gets people to the point where they feel very lonely and very isolated. And for some people, it affects their mental health, so that's really sad. So to prevent that, to prevent losing a person that you really love and care about and that you want in your life, you do have to put in the work, and you do have to put in the effort. And yeah, don't just give up on your friendships. We need each other. So here are some things I found in the article about how to get back to a good place with a friend. The first thing you need to remember is that quality is way more important than quantity. So don't rush to make new friends. Don't rush to make new friends. Be open to it, but look at the friendship that you have, this friendship that you have that you want to still keep. That friendship that makes you feel safe and loved and cared for, even though it's in a place where it might feel different. Remember that you can revive it, and remember that the quality of it is more important. The second thing is to consistently invest time. And I know that can be really difficult as adults, because so much changes. So much has changed for me over the years. I had a time in my life where friendship was the center of life for me in university. I was investing quite a lot of time in spending time with my friends. I was also really close to everyone in terms of where we lived, where we all lived. We all lived in the same space, all went to the same university. So I could always just walk to my friend's res and they could walk to my res. Or I could just take an Uber to my friend's flat. And it was never too far. It was never like 20 minutes away. So that was a really nice luxury to have. But I also didn't have many other priorities. I didn't have other things that I was thinking about. I was in university. My only priority, my only focus was to do well at school, to study and to do well. So that was definitely a luxury. And I only realized that it was a luxury when that stopped being my reality. And then I started living far away from my friends and really not being able to see them anymore. But yeah, I know that it can be hard as an adult. You don't really have the luxury of time anymore. There's a lot going on. You need to open yourself up and consistently invest time. Make time for that friendship. Make time for that person. Make time for the outings. Having shared experiences plays an essential role in deepening friendships. Research suggests that it takes about 50 hours of time together to transform from acquaintances to casual friends, 90 hours to become regular friends, and more than 200 hours to solidify a best friendship. So, again, like a romantic relationship, you need to make time. You have to make time. Even though it won't be 5 days of the week where you can see your friend after class like you would every day after class, like you would when you were in varsity, you can do 2 times in the month. You can even do a FaceTime movie night, dinner night, if the other person lives in a different city or they live in a different state. You can find a way to make time. You just have to want to do it. You know what I mean? I'm going to say it again. I know it's hard. I know it can be challenging. There is so much going on in an adult life. But you make time for the things you love. You make time for the people you love. And you just got to make the time. You got to find the time. Another thing, the third thing, is to add more positivity. Really, 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 really important. One way to grow any relationship is to foster positivity, which has to do with the way we leave each other feeling. And it's not always about saying a positive thing or positive things. It's about making sure that you are leaving the other person feeling loved, supported, and accepted, and that you are also walking away with feeling loved, supported, and accepted. This can look like using words of affirmation, giving our friends compliments, and making them laugh. And if you aren't in a good place and you're feeling like really stressed or you're tired, don't feel the pressure to entertain your friends or force jokes, but just be open with them and tell them how you're feeling and be like, I need just for you guys to be patient with me. I'm really struggling with this at the moment. But then also on the other hand, maybe just mention something that you saw your friend doing on social media, for example, on TikTok or on Instagram, where you saw them hiking or you saw them out for drinks, and ask them to tell you about it. Show an interest, ask questions. So yeah, just make a person feel loved and cared for. That does need to be a priority in reviving a friendship that is struggling, that's going through a bit of a rough patch. Number 4 is to get vulnerable. This is a very important aspect of friendship. Very, very important. And I have learned that over the years. It's a key to cultivating stronger friendships. It's allowing the other person into your life, and you open up and you show them who you are, and show them that you trust them. Obviously, if that's something that they have earned or that you know them to be a trustworthy person, show them that you trust them. Research suggests that it can be particularly difficult for men, actually, who often avoid expressing intimate feelings because they fear social rejection. And unfortunately, there is no way around it. There is no loophole. You are going to have to be at least a little bit vulnerable and share a little bit about who you are so that you can connect with other human beings. We are so intricate as human beings. There are things that will just naturally bring us closer to each other, and opening up and giving people access to parts of your life is one way to do that. Showing a person that I trust you and I know that I can really get comfort from you. I think it means a lot to the other person as well. And then that also gives them an opportunity to open up to you. You know what I'm saying? It also doesn't mean that you have to share your deepest, darkest secrets the first time you've met a person. Don't overshare. Don't do that. Have discernment. Know and see when a person has earned that, and know and see when it is the right time in that friendship, and you're in that place for you to be able to share that with that person, and you know that they won't go around talking to other people about your business. So yeah, just prioritize that. Number 5 is to mix in some novelty. New shot of energy. Do something different. Talk about different things. Participate in different activities. And there's nothing wrong with doing the same things over and over again, but to deepen the bond, to also reintroduce just this different person of you. This is still, remember, familiar friendship. This is just different you, different priorities, different things that you like. Carve out moments of conversation where you go off script. Brainstorm new adventures you can embark on together, whether it's traveling to a different destination or trying a different recreational activity. Do something different that is showing also this growing you, this different part of you, these different parts of you. Number 6 is to express gratitude. Tell your friends that you appreciate them. Tell them that you care for them. Tell them that they are very important to you. Tell them how grateful that you are that you have them. Research suggests that gratitude plays a very important role in helping friendships to grow, just like vulnerability does. Make it a point to show your friend that you're thankful for who they are as a person, their core traits and values, and the big and little things they do. I don't want to even lie. It's a very beautiful thing for me to hear my friend or my friends express gratitude and just say, I appreciate you, I'm really grateful for the friendship that we have. I think that it really does, just like vulnerability, deepen that connection that you have with a person. They feel loved and appreciated, and they feel noticed as well. And we are human beings. We need that. I think it's like water. It is, what am I trying to say? It is to us what water is to plants. So it really helps you grow when you are hearing a person say, I appreciate you, I'm grateful for you, I love you, thank you so, so much. Number 7 is to show up for the important moments. Every friendship will inevitably arrive at what is described, or what I found to be described as a diagnostic moment, the highs and lows in life that disproportionately affect how we label our relationships. And I didn't know this, but it is an actual thing, and it does end up affecting your relationship. There's something that I didn't know what fell under this diagnostic moment is when, in the past especially, when I would be the only person to go to my friend's house. So I still live at home, right? And I know it can be a bit tricky sometimes to invite people over because, especially with me, love my family to bits, but we're always really home. And if I'm not home, then my siblings are home. And if my siblings are not home, then my mom will be home. So sometimes you just want to be with your friends and you just want it to be you and them and catch up and have that privacy, right? And it's also always better if maybe your friend does live at home, but they live in quite a big house and I don't. So yeah, I'm not always really excited or rushing to invite friends over to my house. But sometimes you do want your friend to say, would you like me to come over? Or just like to say to you, I want us to, I want to stay over at your house, or I want to come and see where you live, or I want to come and meet your family, or whatever the case may be. And that really, it got to a point in the past for me where it was feeling like I was the only one. And again, I had at the time, just side note, I was never really open about the fact that it bothered me. That was obviously on me. But it got to that point for me where I was like, when are you gonna show up and come to my house? I'm always coming to your house. Sometimes I'm not in a good place and I would like my friend to come and visit me. But because I live too far, or I don't live in a place, okay, this was obviously also me. Or I'd be like, maybe because I don't live in a place that another person might feel safe enough to come in and visit me. Maybe that's like a reason. But yeah, this was also all me. But yeah, it did end up affecting how I would see my friends, and I'd kind of end up feeling like they don't care about me in the same ways that I do about them, because I'm always going to them and always making the effort. And yeah, that is something that I wish I had been more expressive about, because I look back now and I realize that it made me very resentful. But yeah, I think that it does end up affecting your friendships, or your friendship, or your relationship, when a friend is not showing up for you the way that you would for them. So, you're going through a really tough time, and your friends, they don't come and see you. But when you're going through a tough time, or when they're going through a tough time, you would make an effort to drive, no matter how long you have to go and see them. Something else is when a friend gets a promotion, or diagnosed with something scary, or they had a health scare, or they went through a breakup or a divorce, or they met someone new. How you show up in those moments, that will end up affecting the friendship significantly. So just remember to show up for those important moments, to be there for your friends. Yeah. And it makes the world's difference. It does make the world's difference how a person chooses to show up for you. And whether we like it or not, it will affect the stability of the friendship. The last one is to commit to improving your bond together. Number 8, number 9. If you're feeling disconnected from a friend, bring it up in conversation. This is going to bring me to the point that I made in the previous point that I spoke about, or what I said in the previous point that I spoke about. Be open. Talk about things. Not just feeling disconnected. Be open. Talk about things. Have difficult conversations. Have uncomfortable conversations. When you don't feel like the other person is making an effort, tell them. Tell them how much you are feeling that disconnect, but also just talk in general. Tell them how you care about them, and let them know that you'd like to find a way to stay connected. And as I said before, just make that effort. Ask if they have any ideas that could help make that happen. You suggest anything that you have come up with. It needs to be a collaborative effort, and it needs to be a productive conversation, whilst you are making it clear how much you value the friendship. So you aren't fighting with the other person, you are just expressing yourself, and you're doing it honestly, and you're doing it with love. If you're upset about something, if you're upset about anything, Address it directly instead of simply withdrawing, which is something that I used to do in the past when things would bother me, when things would make me uncomfortable. Like, for example, a person never visiting me at my home or never even offering to visit me, but me always going to them and then just like withdrawing. Don't do that. That's unhealthy. When you don't bring things up, it's like holding someone guilty before even giving them a chance to explain themselves. Okay, so please speak. Your friend is not your enemy. They aren't your enemy unless they are, unless it's a frenemy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't get into a relationship or continue a relationship with someone who clearly isn't trying to be your friend like that. They don't care enough about you. They don't care about you at all, and you can tell. But your friend isn't your enemy. Your friend is a human being, and they will make mistakes, and they also can't read your mind. They're not a magician. They aren't a psychic. So communicate. You can just sit down with the person and say, listen, I was hurt when this happened. I felt like you were not being considerate. Can we please talk about it? So yeah, put your best foot forward and be intentional and communicate with your friend or your friends. Speak to them openly about where you are and where you are looking to go moving forward, and be patient. Earlier on, I mentioned that you shouldn't let a friendship break up or a former friend who broke your heart stop you from making new friends. And I meant it. So let's talk about it a little bit. Remember that close friendships don't just happen. Friendship period doesn't just happen. And I know that it can be a big struggle to meet people and develop any quality connections, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it a try. You should try. So here's what to look for in a friend. A good friend will show a genuine interest in what's going on in your life, what you have to say, and how you think and feel. So look out for that. Someone who is actually interested in you. Another thing is they are going to accept you for who you are. No wanting to change you. She's not going to force you to wear wigs, wear makeup, wear certain clothes, purchase certain things that you look nicer. Your friend is going to accept you for who you are. You are not going to be a project for them. Another thing is that they listen to you attentively and they don't judge you. They don't tell you how to think or feel, and they definitely don't try to change the subject. Someone who cares about you, someone who you can tell is really trying to develop a friendship with you, someone who's going to listen to you, and they aren't going to be judgy or weird. They feel comfortable sharing things about themselves with you, and that's going back to that vulnerability point that I made when you are trying to revive a friendship that is struggling. Opening up, being vulnerable, sharing things. Very, very important. They focus on the way a friendship feels, not what it looks like. Because friendship is not about the pictures you take or the places you go out to for recreational activities or the clothes you wear or the food you eat or how your English accent sounds or how many languages you can speak or how people perceive you. Your friendship should never have anything to do with those things. It should be about the way that the friendship feels. Are you happy? Are you safe? Do you feel valued? And so forth. The most important quality in a friendship is the way the relationship makes you feel, please, not how it looks on paper. So you need to ask yourself these questions. Do I feel better after spending time with this person? Am I myself around this person? Do I feel secure, or do I feel like I have to watch what I say and do? Is the person supportive and am I treated with respect? Is this a person that I can trust? The truth is, if a person tries to control you, criticize you, abuses your generosity, or brings unwanted drama or negative influences into your life, it's time to reevaluate that friendship. Okay, girls, please, friendship is something that you need to be very picky with. It is like a romantic relationship. Don't play about yourself like that. When you are getting into a relationship with a person and you are inviting them into your life, you are giving them access to who you are giving them your time, you need to be very serious and very focused about who that person is going to be and you need to be very intentional. Don't just be going around letting anyone into your life, letting anyone into your space, letting anyone into your ear space, And when I say ear space, I'm talking about advice. I'm talking about the things that people are speaking into your life. So you've got to be very careful, because as I have laid it out in this episode, research quite literally has proven, it shows that the people that you choose to be friends with will affect your health, not just your mental and emotional health, but your physical health as well. So be picky, be open to new friendships, be open to reviving old friendships, but don't be desperate about it, okay? Don't be desperate about it. A good friend does not require you to compromise your values. They don't force you to always agree with them. And they don't disregard your own needs. That's another thing you got to remember. Friendship takes two also. So it's important to evaluate whether the other person is looking for new friends. That's another thing. That's another important thing. We be talking about, you need to look at whether a man is serious about you or not, whether he wants to be with you or not, or whether he's just playing with you as he would do a yo-yo. But do we talk about it? Do we talk enough about it when it comes to friendship? I don't think so. So evaluate, look, and don't pretend that the red flag is green now. Ask yourself the deep questions. Ask yourself, does this person ask me questions about myself as if they'd like to get to know me better? Or are they being weird? Are they fishing for no reason? Are there ulterior motives here? Don't get paranoid, but ask yourself, because it's important, because it's very, very important to ask yourself these questions and to be honest with yourself. Observe. Another thing to ask yourself is, do they tell you things about themselves beyond surface small talk? We're getting back to that point of vulnerability. You also can't be the only one getting vulnerable with the person. The vulnerability is something that's going to really help you establish connection. And like I said before, it doesn't need to be something super deep, super dark. You just need to open yourself up to a person gradually. And of course, they do need to prove themselves. I absolutely believe that when you are establishing a friendship, you should hold the same standards as you would for a romantic relationship. When you're trying to get into a friendship with a person, do they give you their full attention when you see them? Or is all this person trying to do take pictures? Or is it just all about taking pictures for their Instagram feed and taking videos for their stories and taking for their Insta stories, TikTok stories, WhatsApp stories? Is it just all for show? Does the other person seem interested in exchanging contact information or making specific plans to get together? So are you both there, present, wanting this? Right? If you can't answer yes to these questions, the person may not be the best candidate for your friendship now, even if they genuinely like you. And sometimes it is like that. Sometimes, you get together with a person, you're like, what a vibe. We could 100% be friends. And then sometimes there just isn't space in that person's life. They don't have the capacity, or you're realizing that they just are not at the level that you are wanting the friendship to be, or they aren't very mature. They just aren't ready. And there are many possible reasons why not, so don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. Let's get into how to make new friends. I'm going to briefly talk about it. We tend to make friends with people we cross paths with regularly. So people we go to school with, work with, or live close to, and the more we see someone, the more likely a friendship is to develop. So the first place to look is to look at the places that you frequent. Another big factor in friendship is common interests, which we definitely tend to be drawn to people who are similar, with shared hobby, cultural background, career path, whatever the case may be. So think about activities you enjoy or the causes you care about, and where can you meet people who share the same interests. And when you're looking to meet new people, try to open yourself up to new experiences. So not everything you try will lead to success, but you can always learn from the experiences and have some fun in the process. And you can do things like volunteering, taking a dance class, joining a club to meet people with common interests, such as a book group or a dinner club. Attend art gallery openings, book readings, lectures, music recitals, or other community events. Behave like someone new to the area, even if you've lived in the same place all your life. Be an explorer. Be Dora the Explorer. Take a moment to unplug. Take a moment to unplug. It's difficult to meet new people in any social situation. So if you're more interested in your phone than the people around you, it is probably going to be difficult for you to make friends. So remove your headphones and put your smartphone away and make small talk with strangers. Okay? Make small talk with strangers. Now, I know that another element of making new friends or another obstacle is adult life and how busy it can be. And it's fair and it's understandable. I spoke literally just now about things that cause friends to grow apart, life and its many happenings. And I know that that can be difficult, but you've got to be intentional, like I said. So what can you do? What can you do? You can put it on your calendar. Schedule time for your friends, just as you would for your errands. Make it automatic with a weekly or monthly standing appointment. Make the time, be intentional. Mix business and pleasure. Figure out a way to combine your socializing with activities that you have to do anyways. Group it. If you truly don't have time for multiple one-on-one sessions with friends, do a group get together, especially if you have common friends, common acquaintances. Sometimes it doesn't have to be that. And when I say common, I mean people that know each other. I don't know if I said that right or if I should have put it that way, but yeah, especially if you are people that run in the same circles, that's always great. But if not, then it's going to be a good way to introduce the people that you're friends with to each other. Yeah. And of course, you're going to need to consider if everyone's compatible first, but you will figure that out because you know your people. The last thing I want to say is, I know that another thing can be fear of rejection. Making new friends means putting yourself out there, and that can be scary. It's especially intimidating if you're someone who's been betrayed in the past or been traumatized, or maybe even if you have an insecure attachment. But by working on those issues, by working through those fears, you can really explore ways to build trust in existing and future friendships. And also something else that is unavoidable is rejection. It's just a thing that will happen. Sometimes we will hope that we will be able to connect with people and it just might not work out and you'll feel somehow, but your commitment to making new friends will probably push you to get up again and try again. And yeah, it's just going to be a trial period in your life where you are trying to meet new people, connect with new people, and just putting yourself out there. One thing that will happen, especially when you're putting yourself out there very honestly and you aren't pretending to be someone that you are not, you are going to attract the right people. It will happen. It will be organic. Sometimes it will be very, very organic, and sometimes you'll meet someone on something like Bumble for Friends. Really not my type of thing, but I'm not against it. So yeah, sometimes you'll meet someone at a party. Sometimes you'll meet someone through another person. Friendships bloom in very different ways, but just open your heart to it, Keep rejection in perspective. It really isn't as bad as we make it sometimes. It really isn't. It's not nice, but you can get up from it. You really can. I've experienced rejection in friendship. It has happened. I've experienced rejection. So it is something that cannot be avoided. And yeah, just overall, to have better friendships, play your part, be a better friend yourself. Making a new friend or deepening an old relationship or reviving an old relationship is work. So make the effort. Be the friend that you would like to have. Treat your friend just as you want them to treat you. Be reliable, thoughtful, trustworthy, and willing to share yourself and your time. Be a good listener. Be prepared to listen to and support friends just as you want them to listen to and support you. Give your friends space. Don't be too clingy or needy. Everyone needs space to be alone or spend time with other people as well. Please also don't set too many rules and expectations. Allow your friendship to evolve naturally. Another really, really important thing is to be forgiving. No one is perfect and every friend will make mistakes. No friendship develops smoothly, so when there's a bump in the road, try to find a way to overcome the problem and move on. It will definitely, literally, probably deepen the bond between you. I asked a very good friend of mine, Bogang, absolutely love her so much. True definition of a blessing from God. I asked her why friendship is important to her and the role it has played in her life, and her answer was so formidable. This is definitely not verbatim. I don't remember what she said word for word, but she spoke of how the shared experiences and being intimately known by people that are just as committed as she is to the relationship has been so rewarding. It has been really comforting for her as well to have so many voices of reason, wise women who offer wise counsel that have become a safe space as well. And she appreciates how she gets to choose and to be chosen back. I love that. Another thing that I love that she said was that friendship has played a role that romance just never ever would be able to. She also highlighted that her 20s wouldn't have been the same without the intimacy and sisterhood she has shared with the women she has been in friendship with. And I quote, "My 20s would have sucked without the quality of friends I have." Ah, yeah, relatable, relatable. But yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm really, really grateful for friendship. I'm grateful for the friendship that I have with Wakang. I'm grateful for the friendships that I've had in the past. I am grateful for other friendships and even acquaintanceships that I share with other women right now. And yeah, I absolutely love you, B. For anyone that does not know the B that I'm talking about, Bogang, she's a digital creator. She's the founder of the YouTube channel The B Word and podcast According to B. Her content focuses on being a voice for the 21st century Black women and creating space online for women to share their stories. And I've learned so much from her. And so will you. So please go and subscribe and watch and listen to the conversations that she has with other women. Yeah, guys, I'm really grateful for friendship and how much love I've experienced through it and how much love I've been able to give through it. And along the way, I've also learned that not everyone will become my friend or is meant to. It's such a special connection. And what is important is to share it with people who have earned the right to hear your story. Yeah, I've already mentioned how to know that a person is worth having access to you that intimately. So I hope you take that advice and do your due diligence. Don't rush into friendship. It really takes time to get to know someone before giving them that much access to you. So just take your time. Take your time for real. Um, yeah, and also be okay with the fact that some people come into our lives for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. Just because someone isn't the person you confide in doesn't mean that they can't still be an important part of your life. Maybe they're going to offer you something different than everyone else in your circle does. And maybe there's someone who provides a fun social outlet, or maybe they grow into that person you confide in. It's going to look different for all of us. But yeah, friendship is amazing. I hope that if you are someone that struggles with forming connections, forming friendships, or maintaining friendships, I hope that this episode was really valuable to you. And if you're someone that has wanted to have solid friendships for a while now and you've really struggled, I hope that you open your heart to it now and you give it a chance, because wow, friendship can be, the right kind of friendship can be incredibly life-changing. So yeah, I hope you give it a chance. I really, really hope you do. Thank you again for joining me. This is most definitely where we are ending this week's episode. I really appreciate that you were here, that you have reached this point of the episode. If you are wanting to put anyone on, don't forget to let them know that they can find A Cupful on all listening platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Castbox, etc. And if they are just wanting to test the waters, they can always go to TikTok, where I post snippets of the episodes. The handle is at A Cupful Pod. Have a lovely remainder of this week. Rest when you need to, work when you need to, be kind to yourself and be kind to other people. Look for, invest in, be intentional about forming meaningful connections with others. And most importantly, don't forget to keep doing the things that fill your cup.